Let's talk about tones. What are the 4 or 5 tones in Mandarin, really? All right, so Mandarin's a tonal language, but what does that actually mean? Tonal languages are a class of languages that use tones on a word-by-word level. Now, for context, in English we use tones. We use tones to indicate questions. Like if I say, that's a question, versus that's a question, right? That tone rise at the end, that lets us know that I'm asking you a question. We'll also use this kind of downward, forceful tone when we're making strong, serious statements. Notice my voice is going, right? These are tones. Now, how is tone different from English in Mandarin? In Mandarin, you use tones on a word-by-word level to indicate a difference in meaning of the word. So an example. In Mandarin, we have this sound ma. Now there's tons of different meanings for this sound, but we'll focus on 2, just to make this case of tones before going into all the tones. If you say ma with a flat level tone, you get the word for mother. Ma. Now I want you to compare that to the next tone, which is the word for horse. Ma. So here we have ma and ma. Now, the key points of tone in Mandarin are to understand the length and the direction of the pitch, if you think of music, right? So we have the tone starting at a certain pitch, and it's either going down, staying the same, or going up over time. That is all there is to tone. It's not as complicated as people make it sound. Now, what are the actual 4 tones, or 5, in Mandarin, right? So we have our first flat tone. That's the one you'll always hear people say first tone or level tone. It is a high-pitched tone starting at more or less the top of your register and staying there. Okay? So that would be ma, ma, ma. Notice we're starting fairly high in my register and we're staying at that level for the entirety of the sound. Ma. So next we have the rising or second tone. This will start at the very bottom of your vocal register and go up to the very top of it. So you'll start low and go as high as you can. And that sounds like this. Ma, 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 ma. Next we have the third tone. This is the dipping tone. And this one will start about midway, kind of almost where you started with the second tone, but then it'll dip before coming back up a little bit. It's kind of like a frog croaking. Ma, ma, ma. And lastly, for the standard tones, we have the fourth or falling tone. Now, this tone starts pretty high in your register, close to where the first tone is, and then it drops to the bottom of your register. So this tone starts at the top of your register, pretty close to where the first tone is, and then it drops really rapidly. So it sounds something like this. Ma, 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 ma. Now, I've alluded to this fifth tone in Mandarin. All the fifth tone is, well, it's really just kind of like a toneless sound that will happen at the end of one of the other sounds. So, for instance, if I go, ma, 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 觉得，觉得，我的，我的，好了，好了. It's just kind of like a toneless, or like maybe a better way to say is the tone doesn't matter production of sound. Very short too. It usually doesn't get dragged out super long, right? That's pretty much all there is to tone. In a separate video, I'll help you guys break down how can we produce tones better, how can we practice tones more. But when it comes to understanding Mandarin tones, this is all it is. It's going to feel really weird on your throat at first because these are things we haven't done with our voice before. But I promise you, if you spend some time to practice it, you'll get it down. So, I'm Evan Lao Shi. That's all I've got for you today, guys. Hope that was helpful. Let me know what else you'd like to learn. Ciao, ciao, y'all.